Difference is I fire people. I fired Comey. I got rid of him.
You didn't fire Christopher Wray.
Well, you know what? At the time, I don't know. Let's see what the final judgment is.
That's new footage just released of the interview of Donald Trump by Fox's Maria Bartiromo. And it's pretty amazing, considering that she has been one of the biggest supporters of Trump over the years. She hammers him again and again and again. You'll see it in just a second. But remember, this is a woman, again, that backed the election was stolen lie over and over again. And she's peddled some unhinged conspiracy theories as well.
Intel source telling me that President Trump did, in fact, win the election. Breaking news this morning on the software that President Trump says was weaponized against him. Coming up, President Trump's legal team with new evidence this morning of backdoors on voting machines, ballot tampering, and election interference. Traffic of the swing states that were using Dominion and this software, the Smartmatic software. I mean, you just said it all. This is a Smartmatic, a Delaware entity registered in Boca Raton, Florida. Activities in Caracas, Venezuela. The voting machines were used. Dominion voting machines were used in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And I have a graphic showing the states where they stopped counting.
I'm going to show you more of this interview in just a second, but let's be clear. The election was not stolen. These are proven lies by the states, the feds, prosecutors, all media, including Fox. All right, back to this interview. Bartiromo doesn't let up on Trump. She criticizes him for a whole slew of things. Watch.
Look, I want China to do great. I do. And I like President Xi a lot. He was a very good friend of mine during my term.
Well, look, COVID cover-up, intellectual property
when
theft.
COVID came,
the list is long from our number one adversary. So I don't know if he's a friend.
But I got along with him great.
Bartiromo also takes a shot at the RNC's ability to compete with Democrats in their war chest, to which Trump says, I'm really rich. He says, after all these civil lawsuits, is he really rich? And will the RNC keep bailing him out? Do they even have the money?
The RNC doesn't seem to be so strong. I mean, the Democrats have all the money. Look at what we see. We've got the Democrats actually with the money and spending it. The RNC seeking credit lines. The RNC reported its lowest bank balance at the point in any year in 2016. Comerica says Michigan GOP defaulted on a loan of $500,000.
So I have a lot of money.
And let's not forget about Trump's visibly panicked demeanor. It was on the video we showed you last week where she questioned him on the border deal that he's currently trying to sabotage.
Is it dangerous right now to stop Congress from doing a deal on immigration? Should we be waiting for you to get back into office?
You can't do a bad deal. The deal they're looking at is terrible. They're going to allow part of the deal. You know, they're not releasing the papers. That's always a bad sign. Nobody can get a hold of the papers.
So they're going to release it Friday night.
We have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a border that allowed millions of people to come into a country, even a third world country, that fight them off, I always say, with sticks and stones.
We are in uncharted waters here. Never before in my life have I ever seen a candidate put his interest above those of the country like Trump. So I guess the question is, are these Republicans a part of a movement against MAGA, which will ultimately end this reign of insanity? Or will Republicans and talking heads like Bartiromo suffer the same fate as Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger? There appears to be a division between the different factions of the Republican Party, where people like Bartiromo are openly questioning and a host of Republicans in the House and Senate are getting on him for trying to sabotage this border deal. Maybe you recall just a few days ago, we played a clip from Republican Dan Crenshaw, who had to say this.
I'm extremely disappointed in the very strange maneuvering by many on the right to torpedo a potential border reform bill. If we have a bill that, on net, significantly decreases illegal immigration, and we sabotage that, that is inconsistent with what we told our voters we would do. People will make up whatever reasons they want to. There's a number of them, I'm sure. But it would be a pretty unacceptable dereliction of your duty.
And then there's Republican Ken Buck, one of the minority of Republicans who seem ready to vote for the border bill. He says he won't be voting for an impeachment against Homeland Secretary Mayorkas.
Have leaders been trying to convince you otherwise? And is there anything that will change your mind? Or when you say solid no, you mean solid no?
Yeah, I'm not changing my mind. I have met with Chairman Green from the Homeland Security Committee. I have met with the staff. I have talked to outside constitutional experts. I've talked to former members of Congress about what this would mean for Congress. I believe I have done my due diligence, and I am standing firm at this point on this. If there's some new evidence, I'm happy to look at it, but I don't believe there will be.
Now, I want you to see this next video of Lucy Caldwell. She is the former campaign manager for Joe Walsh back in 2020. You might remember Walsh, one of the early conservatives who backed Trump and then stood up against Trump and then felt the wrath of MAGA. Caldwell, Caldwell goes after former Representative Chaffetz from Utah, and she goes after him hard. Said, don't pretend your opposition to the border bill is about children while you kneel before Trump.
I just want to say, because I feel very passionate about this, spare me the idea that Republicans in Congress are impeaching Mayorkas or taking aim at Joe Biden because they care about unaccompanied minors at the border. That is just absolutely absurd. And if that is the case, then they should get with the program and get on board with the bipartisan border bill that has been offered up by members of their own
How
party.
dare you? How dare you?
Go ahead, Jason.
Don't tell me that I don't care about these little kids. Why not pass H.R. 2, which actually passed the Congress?
I said congressional Republicans. I respect.
I used to be in Congress. I was a chairman of a committee in Congress working on this very issue.
One at a time, Jason.
And here's what Republican Senator James Lankford, the chairman of the Senate Ethics Committee, had to say about Trump's trying to derail the border bill. It's time to stop the chaos on our southern border. We should have zero illegal crossings. Let's act now to make our laws stronger and close the border. We were elected to fix the problems and do hard things. I've been to the border many times, talked to the experts, and I've pushed for years to pass laws that will stop the flow and secure our border. We must end Biden's catch and release. By the way, this new border bill does that. Stop the criminal cartels from exploiting our asylum laws. They deal with that too. Speed up deportations and reinstate a Title 42-like authority. We need more law enforcement officers, more deportation flights, more detention space, more border walls, stronger changes to our weak asylum law, and ways to block criminals and terrorists. And Lankford finishes up by saying, if we believe the border is a national security crisis, because it is, we should do something about it now. If we have the power to do good, we should do it. Let's close the border. Well, as I've said before, the bill that is before Congress right now does all those things. And it will close the border if migrants reach a certain number. So they're all in the border bill. Everything Lankford's looking for is right here, right now. Bottom line here is significant. The cancer that is Donald Trump has taken over this party. And while Trump, a sociopath, demands that the Republicans fall in line behind him, block this border bill that's good for America, but bad for him, he wants the border crisis to become worse. Because if Trump is forced to run against Joe Biden on the economy, and they've been paying attention lately, it's pretty damn good, well, Donald Trump is toast. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Really American. We're here to debunk Republican lies right through the election while breaking down all the latest news for you. For Really American, I'm Chip Franklin.